Hello, how you doing? This is my stance on Creflo Dollar Part Two. Now I did listen to one at least one of them in the process of listening to the other, but he's trying to explain himself, his new doctrine. See, in my opinion, he should have corrected himself years ago, 20, 30 years ago. But I think the system that is in the church, preach the gospel to the poor people, get them all excited, get them all hyper. They're gonna scream, holler, and blow snot. They'll give you all kinds of money. If you want to make $1 million a month, you're gonna have to market the gospel to black people. I mean, just get the black people all hyper and everything. And that is a proven system. That's just total marketing. And you know what? We should give freely, not under fear, not because somebody excites us, not because somebody makes us scream and holler and blow snot. We should give freely. Okay, now I tell you something that I haven't seen in the Old Testament where people are writhing back and forth. I haven't seen that. Now I've seen where people fall out, like Saul, he fall out and prophesying, but and David danced, but all this writhing, I haven't seen that in the Old Testament. I mean, you want to talk about things I haven't seen in the Old Testament was that. Now, he said that people give out of fear. Okay, there's a fear in the spirit world. God's going to curse them if if they don't tithe. He even said that if you want to join his church, you got to pledge to tithe. But actually, he's the one who has been inflicting fear, and he's been doing it for years. He even threatened to kill some people if they don't tithe, which is foolishness. Okay, so he's the one who's been inflicting fear. So I would think, look, people going to the church, if I don't tithe, God's going to get me. I'm scared of that. So, and then Creflo's going to shoot me because he said he's going to shoot me. So people go into that church fearful. They're not giving freely, they're giving out of fear. That's their problem. That's his problem. He's the one to put the fear into to inflict fear. Now, look, it took me 3 years to hear the teachings of tithes and offerings so that I would even understand it. It took me 3 years to really fully understand tithes and offerings. And there was no fear. It was just learning what the principle is behind it and so on. So it's his fault that they go to the church in fear. Now, look, somebody was killed. Now, look. Okay, look, he's already had somebody killed. Somebody's already killed in his church right there on the pulpit. I mean, and what was his response? Take up an offering to pay for his funeral. Nothing like, why was he killed? Nothing. Okay, so look, people are really scared now. Like, well, look, if he'll have somebody killed in the pulpit, what would he do to me? Whatever, okay? So he's been inflicting fear for years. That is his problem. Because if you're really teaching on tithes and offering, it's not fear. It's no fear. Because like I said, it was about 3 years before I even got a full understanding of tithes and offering. There was no fear. It was just teaching. So I know there are other moral issues with it, which he conveniently is not going to talk about either. He's not going to talk about that either. Now, in my opinion, he has inflicted the fear. He's the one that says, I'm going to shoot you if you don't tithe. Okay, that's fearful. They got to worry about the Almighty's curse. And they got to worry about him shooting them if they don't tithe. Okay, that's fearful. You know what? Maybe as he's getting older, he wants to go out to say, okay, I have a new doctrine out there, even though it's a doctrine of devils. I think what Satan is doing is say, okay, he's got most of the churches. That's what he said. Satan said that. He said he's got most of the churches. Now, that's the wicked truth. Because, I mean, this great falling away is already happening. And I think what Satan says, okay, let's attack them with money. Let's attack them with the sacred principle of tithing, which is instituted way back in the beginning. It was instituted. Okay, so let's mess with the tithes. And usually when you talk about money, churches get very upset. They get very upset. Don't mess with my money. Okay, but so I think that Satan wants to attack the finances of the church. So he's going to tell Creflo about a new doctrine. So it's just a doctrine of devils. And Creflo don't have any more sense to talk about this doctrine of devils. And maybe that's the way he wants to go out as he ages, to say, okay, well, I came up with a new doctrine. See, I came up with a new doctrine. See, that's why we have to keep our egos in check. We do. We just have to keep, I always say, keep your ego in check. Just like Quincy Jones says, keep your ego at the door. Keep your ego in check. You don't have a right to have a new doctrine. Okay? So, but look, he's the one who has inflicted fear for years, and he's going to shoot somebody if they don't tithe. And so people have to worry about the curse from the Almighty, and they have to worry about him shooting them. So they go into the church fearful. Okay? But like I said, there is a curse, because I do remember 2 occasions where I didn't tithe, and that curse really did happen. And it happens immediately if you don't tithe. I mean, it's just there. You can sense it in the spiritual world. Okay? So it's real. But look, he has to do some mirror therapy. He has to look at himself as to why he inflicted fear. I know why. Look, he wanted to get the $10 million club. He wanted to be in the $20 million club. God didn't give him the money fast enough, so he asked the devil. The devil gave him some money. When the truth is, the Bible says the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Diligence means you work at something very hard and you do it for a long time, and you be excellent in everything you do. That's what makes you rich. If he had worked diligently over the years, he wouldn't have to get $10 million or $20 million from the devil. If he had just bought real estate, if he had paid attention to the poor, bought some hotels for poor people on the street who can go there. You know what? If he would be getting all that rental money, and you know what? God would have probably multiplied it to $50 million. He didn't need to ask the devil for anything. But look, he has to do some mirror therapy as to why he inflicted this fear.